All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if for its local search is city search, see if it's got BSS. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to, we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that, and also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock. Way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now, the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief. And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page 1 slots, as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page 1 equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page 1, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page 1. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page 1, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily, we have a solution. Because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search for the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows onto Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page 1 slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page 1 Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go basically any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. We're finally visible on page 1, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus of this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto-trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page one equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot one. We got organic slot one. We got organic two. We got organic. So slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. And slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get this from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. Now onto the main event here. And check this boudoir photography business. I'm going to see, check its local search, check its city search, see if that BSS, yes or no. So let's see. Going to Williamstown and Defiance, Ohio. All right, Williamstown. Yep, nice. All right, get rid of these. All right, let's see what we got. See what we got. Okay, I'm not seeing us here yet. All right, it looks like we're at 0 out of 10 slots, page one Google for local search. All right, now we're gonna check city search. Let's see, go down to organic. All right, here we go. All right, so city search, we got one. We got two. We got three. We got four. We got five. We got six. All right, I wonder if I switch these searches up. I wonder if Defiance is the local and the other one's the city search. But all right, so all right, we got 6 out of 10 for this one. So that's insanely good. So let's go. So local search, Williamstown, Ohio. That one must be the city search then. We do have BSS. We got 0 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. We're not hitting the GBC recommend minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. But for the local search, Defiance, Ohio, we are hitting. We do not have BSS. We got 6 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. We're definitely meeting the GBC universe recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search. So insanely good. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness. You search, locally, and do local search and a city search for the high intent keywords. And you got boudoir search sameness, and you've realized now that page one equality is a false belief, and now we have a methodology to take as many page one slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got the website, got the Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page one that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page one of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all because we'll have so much coverage on page one. They'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the SQ methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increases the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. It's a back-end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asking about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. And that was it. And so, kind of the back-end benefits is we're future-proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, 1, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with 1 person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this SQ methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 of Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possible you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3? How much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide SQ methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.